Good morning, everybody. This is Max Farrell. This is DexTrader.com. Today is April 13th, Friday the 13th, 2018, and this is your daily update. Why do I sound so pumped? Well, let me tell you, after the last couple of weeks that I've had, it's good just to get into digging into the tools again and start utilizing some of the processes. I did a little bit of revamping, and that's what today's webinar is going to be about. It's going to be a little bit about an update as well for the week, which has been sort of, terrible as far as the market goes. But, it's a matter of perspective of where you sit at. A good hedge trader would be like, it doesn't bother me. And a person who just buys sells, or somebody who just buys stocks would be like, this is the worst week ever. So it's all really a matter of perspective. From my perspective, it was a tough week because I heard traders getting hurt. I seen money being lost, and I heard concerns of utilization of the tools and where stuff was at to make it easier. So let's discuss first off. The past week, we've been slowly updating the site. As you can kind of see, there's a new look to it. The signals areas. Just this morning, we revamped the basic signals page for you Nadex folks. And we did this with you in concern and in thought because we wanted you to be able to have a very clean and open process. Now, here's what we've done. First off, we removed chat. Chat was not being utilized to its fullest effectiveness, and we thought that it was probably best because it's a resource that drains the system that's on board the process. It's probably something that we really didn't need at this time. I'm going to be putting out a survey that asks, should we have chat or shouldn't we have chat from that position? But I think people are more concerned on whether or not the signals are there and ease of use of signals. So let's focus on this. If you do really want chat, and this is something that you're listening to right now, just jump in the email. Jump in an email and send to max@dextrader.com. 2 X's, MAXX at dextrader.com, and say, listen, Max, I really miss my chat. Bring my chat back, please. Okay? And I will do so. Okay? Because we heard a lot of people say, oh, there's nobody in chat. Why is this? It was more of a detriment than it was as a resource. Even though we have so many people in here, nobody really likes to go into the chat room because they don't want to be berated or they want to be thought of as somebody who's not trading as well as somebody else. So we just thought it was best to take it off. Now, if you remember before, the signals page had some buttons up here that you could go back from live and daily and switch back and forth. The problem with that was that the only one that you were on was the only one that was giving you a signal at the time. You would only hear an alert from one. So what we did is that we separated the pages. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. News avoidance intraday is missing. That's right, it is. Well, because we found that news avoidance is also a matter of perspective, and some people avoid the 2 bull, some avoid the 3, some trade the news, some use that volatility to trade. So we decided to save the resource, okay, because the news avoidance system was very fickle. Every time investing.com would change their security system or change their process, it would affect all of our systems. We'd have to revamp it. I've spent more time and money trying to keep the news avoidance system paired to investing.com's news reporting than anything else. And nobody else has one just like investing.com. So it's been a very difficult process, and we don't want to have to increase the amount of the signals in order to cover those costs. So what we decided to do, the best thing would be, is to remove the news avoidance, since it really wasn't working anyway, as far as the system automatically keeping those trades out. The best thing for you to do is to avoid the news. Now we still got a news tab here. So if you see news firing off at your time, like in 25 minutes, there is a Euro USD or USD jobs fair happening. And this is going to really move the market, right? There's a lot of information that's going to move the market in the next hour, okay? And then even later on today for the end of the day stuff. I would really avoid the news like the plague. Yeah, anything 2, 3 bulls, you got that hour. You don't get into the dailies that are just getting in, because in an hour it's going to be 10:30. That's going to affect these signals. You'll probably see some daily losses today. Okay, you'll probably see a daily loss today inside because we already have one on the Great Britain Pound USD. And again, this wasn't really, I guess you could say, let me see, let's jump over and have a look. Yeah, right around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, right before the signals fired off, there was a lot of movement happening from 2 to 3 in the morning. So you can kind of see that, you know, does the news affect it? And it's absolute, right? So we decided that it's best for you as the individual to just avoid the news when possible. So we have the dailies, the intradays, and the SR Maxes are still there. The training is still here. We're going to be revamping this page here just a little bit, and our training system is going to take a little bit of a revamp as well, which is pretty cool because it's going to be more like a Udemy, lynda.com feel, which is going to be pretty cool. There'll also be a performance page in the solution. Oh, by the way, each of the daily signals page, you're like, where's the DPC, the data processing center? Well, right underneath the signals is the data for that signal base. Okay, so if it's dailies for dailies, then go to intradays, you can scroll down and see intraday, go up the SR Maxes, and then there's the SR Max signal totals. Okay, so it's all right there. If you happen to get into a pair, to go back, just refresh your page and it'll bring everything back to normal. We will have a button in there later on to hit back for that frame. Okay, so but for now, simple, easy peasy. Okay, everything's right there on that page. So if you, instead of going back and forth to the data processing center and flipping and have to restart and all that kind of stuff, everything's right here at your total. Okay, you can even hit the news and look at news real quick and then back over to intraday and boom, done. All right, we will work on some alert systems in there. Everything else is sort of the same. We are doing a little bit of a revamp on the 5-minute signals page here over the weekend, just to kind of clean up some stuff and make stuff a little bit bigger. We may even have some free Nadex signals that'll be popping out too, which will be pretty cool. Also, some YouTube stuff that's happening is pretty neat. We're going to put out some rewards for YouTube subscribes, which is pretty cool, and that'll be coming over the weekend as well. All right. Well, up next for the next update for Friday the 13th, April Friday the 13th, 2018 is your DexFX copy update. Wait a minute. Hold your horses. I thought you said the other day was the last day for the DexFX copy update. Well, it's not really. You DexFX copy people, the ones that have really stuck it out, after releasing the information I did yesterday about losing, we had nobody leave. We had nobody decide that they were going to I mean, if you have and you just haven't told us, that's something different. But I had some really good people who came back and said, listen, we understand that these things happen, and I can't thank you enough, that I'm really trying to make the process really happen. Now, as you know, we started to deal with a third-party company to come on board and do a base of our signals and a base of their signals and put everything together, and it really kind of hasn't happened yet, right? We want to talk about data, we want to put data on a board and get a lot of things happening, but I'm not really, I'm hoping to see it soon and hoping to see the process happen. And as all of you know, I'm very critical over soft trading and not slot bucket, right? And what was the slot bucket? It's where we get into a bunch of trades that are, and then the ones that are doing bad, we just let stay open and we put that in the slot bucket and let it fill up. And hopefully one day that they'll start going back in the direction we want them again. I don't dig that kind of trading, and I don't think that's what the company's doing, but I think it's pretty close to that, right? Because I know that the market was pretty tough and they wanted to keep it on. There was no real great stop loss control there. So I'm a little concerned over their ability to see that margin, even as it starts to go out of their support and resistance areas, is to ixnay it and take it off, to keep it as a loss. I'd rather keep it as a small loss. A 20, 30, 40, 50 pip stop loss in there would have easily saved us almost 170 pips on the one, which would have been very crucial to us at the time because they would have been way in the positive right at the moment. So enough of that. So what did I do? What did I decide to do to change the mentality of this process? Well, one thing is that I revisited the idea that I'm really the one that needs, and we've had a lot of people ask us this, why don't we just stay on Simply Forex? Okay, and so there's two things that are about to happen that have already started to happen. I've started already to deliberate the Simply Forex process, creating a new channel called Simply Forex Trading. It's the same bot system, it's the same solution. It's just starting over with one mentality, and that is simple: trade. and watch a trade. I had everything verified on board, so everything is wide open too, so there's nothing hidden. We started off trading, of course, yesterday afternoon, and immediately had the first loss, right? And then a second loss. And that was okay because I'm 100% mentally into this process, right? Third win, or the third trade was a win at 19.1, which put us in a positive pretty high. But again, we're up 7 cents, right? So and again, I'm only trading one micro lot, so it's not the $1 million account. The process for here, though, is very simple. Is that I'm going to be utilizing our Simply Forex bot to trade between certain times and certain processes, right? The first one being that all trades for the Simply Forex, okay? All trades for Simply Forex happen between Sunday night, okay, and Friday afternoon, okay? Now, these will start right about 6:30, 7 o'clock, maybe even 7 p.m. I'll turn it on because I'm physically going to be turning the system off and on. The reason being is that I don't want any quick start stuff that happens over on Sunday, because you come up with a gap and it drops down real quick and it goes back up and it does whatever. So probably between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. I'm going to be turning this Sunday bot back on, this Simply Forex side back on, okay? The other is that I'm going to be turning it off anywhere between 11 and 3 Friday and turning it off, right? Any trades that are left open, and here's the downside, right? Any trades that are left open, win, lose, or draw, I'm closing. Now I'm going to try to validate some times in there, and I'll put some really tight stop losses in that hopefully it'll go in the right direction. So I'll put the stop loss up real tight. And so if it doesn't go up anymore, we won't take any more loss, but we'll take more of a win. I'll do that, and then at the end of the day, if I see that it's still going in the positive, I'll keep tightening that stop loss all the way down until real close to the end of the day, and then I'll close out the trade and turn it off. That's it, simple, right? Great. Now let me talk to you about one more process, because you can join the Simply Forex side, because what we're going to do is that we're not going to create the Omega series of like the Max Omega and all that process just yet. Because I'm not going to bleed in multiple stuff here. I'm going to give you a mentality to look at. Simply Forex is a mentality. It's me trading that process. You have to trust in me. I'm managing it. The bot's trading it automatically, but I'm tightening stops and creating a pip follow process. Okay, but you have to understand, I'm here on a limited basis. If I'm not here to engage it, I'm turning it off. So your pips amount may not be as high as you desire. Now, you could have that as a process for us, but that's something that you have to decide. I can't decide that for you. I can't force you to be that's the only thing you take. So what else did I create? Well, let me talk to you about a mentality. Trading manually is so wide open. There's so many different variables that you can choose. But when you focus trade, and what I mean by focus trade is that when you take either a really super strict system, at 3 o'clock, I go to the Euro USD and I do a buy. And at 3:05, I pull it off, win, lose, or draw. That's like a super focused strategy, okay? So we have a bot, in which we call the Odin. And the Odin sucks. And I don't mean just, trades about 50%. I'm talking, bleh, sucks, 20%, right? So if you have a mentality that good success rate and bad success rate, somewhere in the middle is the mean, right? We're talking 50%. So if we say the mean is 50%, a good percentage up and above is above 60%, and a bad percentage and below is below 40%. Okay? This variable here is very strong. So if I have a bot that trades up here, I'm just going to leave it and allow my R values to do what it does, right? It's going to keep me in the positive, and even though I will get losses, the closer to the mean that we get, the closer, we are to losing money. And as we fall below and get closer to this outskirt edge of 40%, now we're in a negative. Now, if a equity curve or a success rate curve looks like this, okay, we're in trouble. Why? Because I really can't do anything with this. If this is the mean, and this is the top, and this is the bottom, I really can't do anything with this, because no matter, it won't let us win, and even if we would do what I'm about to tell you, called the reverse mentality, I couldn't do it on that side either. So what we have with the Odin is something that looks like this. Okay? And the good thing about this is that it's been consistent since January 2nd to win a couple of days and then lose 3 or 4 days. Win a couple of days and then lose 3 or 4 days. And win a couple of days and then lose 3 or 4 days. And this equity curve is perfect to do one thing. You ready for what it is? We're just going to reverse it. That's right. Every trade that comes over from the Odin from this point on is being reversed into what we call Odin Ford. And Odin Ford is all the Odin Alpha trades being done in reverse. And this is the rate of success from yesterday. And as you can see, yes, there are times when pairs will win on the Odin Alpha. There are times where they will win. But there's also times when they will lose, and lose strong. Now, when I'm talking strong, if we go to Odin Alpha right now and we look at the history, you can easily see 25 pip loss, 19 pip loss, 30, 20, 16. And yeah, there are some big wins on that process, but the solution will lose more than it wins. A lot more than it wins. And even though that we get big wins from certain pairs, a lot of them will lose. Okay? So the point is that when we get this equity curve, and here's that equity curve I was telling you about the Odin Alpha, when it looks like this, what happens if I were to flip it? Yeah, this thing would look great. You would have a couple of days losing and 3 or 4 days winning, a couple of days losing, 3 or 4 days winning, a couple of days losing, 3 or 4 days winning. And as you can kind of see, if we flip the rate here too, these would be the results in reverse. $134 win, right around 40. That's about 1,300 pips, by the way. Okay, there's 1,100 pips so far. We'd be 240 pips into the month. Okay, so you would see that this process is very, very, like right here on this would have been a very lucrative day, a week for us, and then another big lucrative week here. You see a couple wins and then a bunch of losers, a couple wins and a bunch of losers. It's going to keep going. Now, how do we keep this thing going? I'm going to keep feeding money into it. This is not a live account. This is a demo account, but I'm going to keep feeding money in. As you can kind of see, it's all verified, so it's real. And then the Odin Ford has also been verified. We're up, 0.5%. We're almost, up $5-6. We have a couple of trades that are on right now. That Euro Audi is taking a win on the Odin Alpha, so we're taking the hit on the other side. So you can kind of see there is a very strong opportunity here for this thing to really start to take off. Now, I'm going to put Odin Ford as an availability for you to attach to if you want to. So you can either attach to the simply Forex side or the Odin Alpha. It's completely up to you. Okay? But we're going to be testing these out over the next 2 months and watching this process take a hold, whether in the good, the bad, or the ugly. And whichever one does the best by the end of April is the one that I'm going to program out to be the strongest part of our process. If that means that I need to do nothing but train somebody how to run Simply Forex Bot, I'm going to be looking for that person as well. Okay? If I need to have somebody who just watches the Odin Ford process, I'm going to be training that person as well, because I will not be the only person doing it, because that would create an opportunity for Murphy's Law to come in and take me out, and then everybody's out. Okay? So I hope this stuff finds you well. You can kind of see that we're sort of making this process our own. We're not going to rely on anybody else at this point, unless it's been proven. And they have months and months and months worth of data to be able to be proven. It was my folly. As some of you are, I don't think one person opted out of the process. If you have, that's okay. If you haven't, and you're here, I can't thank you enough for your passion and compassion. And I look forward to seeing you all inside, and hope you all have a great weekend. Happy Friday the 13th. And to all of you, trade well.